Oh my goodness, Isaiah Rodgers. So, I hadn't planned to release anything today. It's like a random Tuesday in the middle of the week. It's not exactly the hot news cycle of the year. But here come the Colts again, finding themselves on the wrong side of the news. I feel like these days, whenever the Colts are in the news, it's like the shit end of the stick. And I don't want to be Mr. Negative, but am I wrong about that? And this particular situation is very, very disappointing. And I feel like there's many a times if I was faced with something like this, in this type of situation with a player and getting to it so quick, normally I would probably just let it play out. But for some reason, I feel inclined to talk about Isaiah Rodgers specifically. And I feel as though it's because just of how much I like Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, that is what makes this so painful for me. This legitimately hurts. Now, it's one thing for it to be disappointing for the team. I'm upset, for the dude. And I'm going to try not to, one, because this is alleged and not proven quite yet, I'm going to try not to kick Isaiah Rodgers while he's down. Because I like him, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. But if he did this, this is a self-inflicted wound by Isaiah Rodgers, right? And just while we're on the topic of the gambling, right, and I'll get into the implications of the Colts shortly, I've never understood exactly what the big deal is with this type of thing, right? Let's say, for example, I'm player X on the Indianapolis Colts. It's week 6 of the season. We're versing the Tennessee Titans. Before the game, I've done my stretching. I've done the whole deal. I'm waiting for the 15 minutes to go out till game time. I go ahead. I place a bet on the Cowboys versus the Giants. That has nothing to do with the game that I'm playing at all. Not even the same conference, right? I mean, what are the playoff implications even, right? Absolutely nothing to do with the Colts whatsoever. What exactly does that have to do with the price of tea in China, right? Why is that something that's frowned upon? Is it just because the players are role models? Is it just because you don't want to set that example? I mean, it certainly doesn't stop you from taking all these sponsorships from the sports books, right? I mean, they're showing the live odds on all the games. That's all they do is talk about sports betting and things like that, let alone the alcohol commercials and all those deals, right? So on that front, I kind of sympathize with the players and an Isaiah Rodgers, let's say, assuming he did this, in terms of the betting on it. Where it becomes weird is when you're betting on the team that you're on. Now, that's a slippery slope, and no matter what, you just have to cut that right there. And not for anything, I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but the Colts were 4-12-1 last season. I mean, if you bet against them, you were up. You know what I'm saying? And then we're not saying that's what Isaiah Rodgers did. I'm just I'm spitballing. This is like a reaction. By the way, I'm releasing this on Tuesday the 6th. This was recorded on Monday, June 5th at night. So if anything here becomes outdated, I know the news is going to be moving fast here. I apologize. But, when exactly is even the last time we heard about a player betting on the team? And again, the worst of it all is how bad the Colts were. To hear something like this, Lord forbid, it comes out that he was betting against this team. I mean, it's number one, he'll never play for a team again. And quite frankly, this suspension is going to be lengthy if everything turns out to be true. But I mean, this is like a Pete Rose, right? For the baseball fans out there. When in Lord's name does this happen where you have a player betting on their own team in the facility, allegedly? I mean, that's crazy stuff. And again, you talk about the Calvin Ridley situation, which everyone's tossing around now. And, again, the difference there is that Ridley, one, didn't have the word that was used in the report was a pervasive amount of bets, which, by the way, just means, to my knowledge, a stunning amount. If you say something's pervasive, it's this is overwhelming. This was a lot. I mean, this guy, it was going in, and Lord forbid. Again, the Colts, I don't want to keep going back to it because I don't want to, put it in your brain that Isaiah Rodgers was betting against the Indianapolis Colts in a 4-12-1 season when I don't even know if that's the truth. But I can't help, as a fan, just initial on emotion, for that to be my response. That's where my brain is at. And again, man, this one hurts, dude. This is I don't want to get dramatic, but I mean, it feels like something bad happened to a friend or a family member. That's kind of where I'm at. And again, it's because of how much I like Isaiah Rodgers, so I don't want to harp on him the entire time. But I do want to talk about how it affects the Colts, right? I mean, this was already a thin corner room. You're talking about a Juju Brents, right, who we drafted in the second round, who probably already had a level of pressure on him to perform just given the lack of depth in the room, let alone the fact that he's been injured with whatever he's been injured with and hasn't been playing in OTAs. And I don't say that in that tone to dismiss Juju Brents. I'm just saying off the top of my head, I don't know what his injury is. I apologize. I'm not like, in the weeds like that, right? But I know he's not practicing. So now all of a sudden he has to go in potentially he was already probably starting day one, but now it's like not only are you starting day one, you're probably covering a better receiver than you would have covered. Now, we could talk about the guys that we have in the room, guys with names I really haven't, heard of many of them, quite frankly. I mean, you talk about the Tony Browns of the world, Dallas Flowers, we know is a return man, right? So this is a next man up situation for the Colts, but I figured I wanted to take this opportunity to, one, react to that, but two, revisit some of the free agent options that I had actually made a video, not about, but had included corners and free agents the other day. You could go ahead and check that out. I'll probably put it at like the end of the video or something like that. But I figured we could discuss the free agent corners in somewhat of a bit more depth than we already have. I don't know how long this episode is going to be because, again, I wasn't really prepared to record one. And not for anything, even though I wanted to talk about this, I just have a sour taste in my mouth. I'm not exactly like super excited to be talking about the possibility of the Colts not having Isaiah Rodgers, breakout player, the whole deal, right? So we're going to get into some of the free agents. Before we do, I have not, it's like 6 minutes in. I haven't introduced myself. My name is Justin. For those of you who've never met me before, welcome. This is the Ride the Bench Colts cast. I'm recording from my bedroom, the whole deal. Peep the hoodie right here. Barstool Indy, run the damn ball. That's what the Colts have to do this year. I'll be making videos about the Colts for a very long time. If you want to subscribe, join for the journey, that'd be great. But the only thing I ask of everyone, I ask two things of everyone that watches. One, enjoy the video. Two, if you are enjoying the video, just shoot it a like, bloop, right? That's going to let YouTube know what you want in front of your face. And then also it's going to let me know if I'm doing good, get out to more people, yada, 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 the whole bit, right? About, whatever I need you to do for me. But as we now look into the free agent corners, I'm going to pull them up real fast because not for anything, with all the aggravation and the heartache and the pain that this brings me right now, I look at some of the options available out here, and it almost has me thinking as to why the heck we didn't have any of these guys on our team to begin with. So good news for the Colts is that there are a lot of free agent options. Now, I'm just going to start firing through them, right? Obviously, you have Marcus Peters is one of the more prestigious guys out here, right? Marcus Peters, big, lengthy, strong guy, is going to talk his smack. That being said, he's always on a winning team. If he was on the Colts, I don't know, right? But yeah, the Marcus Peters of the world, Byron Jones, Bradley Roby, Ronald Darby, Casey Hayward, Anthony Brown was very, very solid for Dallas last year, right? Bryce Callahan, Kyle Fuller, I don't know, freaking Troy Hill. I mean, I just named dudes that I literally just know. Logan Ryan, I mean, I know him. And I'm not saying that these guys are all at the age, by the way, where it's kind of like, what was I going to say? I'm losing it on here. I'm losing it. Yes, these guys are all at the point where they're kind of at that age, corner, tough position. Some would say the toughest position in football outside of the quarterback position because it's kind of like you have to be the athlete of a wide receiver, but the wide receiver knows their route going into the play, and wide receivers are amongst the best athletes on the field. So as a corner, when you lose a step athletically, you can know the game very well, but if you're in man coverage, you might be having a tough time just off of the speed alone, right? So these guys are kind of at that age, but they're veterans. They know how to perform. If I had to pick one of these guys, I would probably say that I would Marcus Peters, I guess, because he's the most, honestly, because he's the most popular one and I just know the most about him. I would say Marcus Peters is the guy, but Anthony Brown on Dallas, I suppose I just want to make sure that these guys are all available. Hold on, let me check real fast. I'm not giving you fake news. So, yeah, no, that's legit. That's legit. So, this is a lot of names. It's almost so many names I don't believe it to be true, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to keep rambling over nothing with this episode. I just wanted to give you something, just a little bit of commentary on this Isaiah Rodgers situation. And then just one note, by the way, we have so much cap room as a team that in terms of actually acquiring someone, right? Nice to have the cap room now. We all talk about going all in and just draining the cap for a win now roster. Not all of us, but people do. You get my point. But you look at the situation now, there's a bunch of corners available. We've got money to sign them. We just signed Rashad Perriman, so we're hitting that second wave of kind of plug-and-play free agent type of guys. Let's see who the Colts pick up. We have the money to do it. In the case that maybe someone didn't want to come play for us, we have the money, particularly because you assume most of these guys at their age are just going to kind of be on a 1-year rental type of deal. We can overpay a guy or two if we have to make sure that we have the pieces that we need in this room. But make no mistake, without Isaiah Rodgers, if the Colts do nothing, they're in a world of trouble. Not for anything. They might have already been in trouble with him on the roster. So let's see how the Colts handle this. But, very, very sad, disappointing day for Colts fans. And that's probably the entire episode. I think I made it long enough. So, without further ado, you made it to the end. Congratulations. Shoot a like, subscribe, share it with a friend if you feel so inclined. But whatever it is, I just hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, my name is Justin. This right here was the Ride on the Bench Colts cast, and go Colts.